you find that you're a little bit more loving, more accepting, more compassionate, more understanding, more willing to let things go. When you're willing to be available, when you align with the consciousness of availability and simplicity, and not be so charged by your polarized conversation, but being charged by the affirmative conversation you're having with God, the divine within you.
There is a place in this world with open arms right now. Welcome to love, welcome to peace, welcome to our community. Be who you are, let your light shine. We're so much more when we unite.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, and good day to you, wherever you are at this moment in time. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Being You, the journey back to yourself. And of course, it is always important to tune in to yourself first. When you tune in to yourself, you get to listen from a different place. So you tune in, you listen from a different place, and you are transformed, you are changed, you are made new, you are renewed. You hear something you hadn't heard before. You're reminded of something you've forgotten. You're reminded of the truth, your birthright. So thank you for being available. Thank you for keeping it simple. I am your host. I am Ade, your beingness artist. I am your transformational artist. No, I am your transformational agent. We are on a journey back to self, back to the true self, back to the essence of who we are. And we're on this journey back to the self before we actually leave the physical body. We're returning back to the beginning so we can show up in our lives healthy, whole, and complete, creative and compassionate, willing to be more understanding, willing to say yes to life, willing to grow, willing to heal, willing to be the answer. This is episode 17. And today's conversation is around the theme, the topic. Don't be polarized. Be available. I love that. Being available means to be simple. Why is it important to be simple? Because there are so many things out there, so many thoughts, so many ideas, so many concepts, so many narratives out there that when you listen and pay attention, well, let me say it this way. When you first hear it, it sounds like, oh yeah, this is going to help make my life simple. You know, that word, let's talk about simple, that word, because it can be taken for granted. It can be seen as, we ain't got time to be simple. Actually, you don't have time not to be simple. Why? Because simplicity is the order of the day. Look at nature. There is a simplicity to nature. There's a simplicity to a rose. There's a simplicity to a flower. There is a simplicity to a baby. You look at the baby, they're just there. They're radiating the light, just simple. Not trying to stand for or against anything, just being. There's a simplicity to that. And so when I say we need to be more simple, I am saying we need to live from a space and a place in our consciousness where we are not creating difficulties for ourselves, all in the name of trying to resolve an issue. This example pops in my head right now, so I'm going to go with it. Like in America, they have this cash advance places, right? You want to pay the rent or whatever you want money for. Pay your car note, buy something for a funeral, whatever it is. They ask for what they ask for. And then the percentages that you're paying back, same thing with some credit cards, you end up paying almost twice as much as what you borrowed. So you end up creating more problem, more challenge, more difficulties in your life because you're trying to find a simple way to deal with a current situation. I say that the time that we're living in right now is calling for us, is asking of us to turn up the volume, to activate the consciousness of simplicity. Because when we turn up the consciousness of simplicity, we can be more available to ourselves, more available to our family members, more available to loved ones, to co-workers, to neighbors. Sometimes we don't have time for others because we barely have enough time for ourselves. We don't know why we're irritated. We don't know why we're stressed. We don't know why we can't sleep at night. However, if we start to cultivate, start to live more and more from a place of simplicity, being available to what wants to be birthed, it will change how we see the world. Now, this is a universal spiritual principle. When I'm talking about, when I say, don't be polarized, be available. Being available requires you to be simple, to be pliable, to be flexible, to listen, to create space, even though you may disagree with what someone is saying, but you can be that loving presence. And as a loving presence, you can be with complexity, the complexity of life, or you can see through your life when the conversations you're having with friends, loved ones, strangers, or when your life just seems complicated. I sometimes hear people, clients, friends, say things, you've heard me say this, where people say, yeah, but you got to face reality. There are many ways to travel through this thing called life. And if we want to move through this journey, if we want to live this life experience known as life, it is important to honor our humanity, which is the physical reality, and our spirituality, our spirit, our spiritual self, the unseen reality. When we honor our humanity and our spirituality, we can live more from a place of balance. So the universal spiritual principles, they help us in growing and developing in a way that's integrated. Those who don't understand, they say you got to face reality, think that if you're being loving, if you're being kind, if you forgive, you're not dealing with reality. Well, the universal spiritual principles, they get you in touch. They make you, let's just go with that. They'll make you perceive life differently. They'll bring you intimate with the realness of what is going on in your life. If you're applying the spiritual principles, if you're doing your spiritual work to cultivate the consciousness that is rooted in the laws of the universe, laws of nature, not only are you facing reality, you are being the creator of your reality. And this takes courage. It's not an easy way to live. It can be challenging in a world where it's so black and white. And the spiritual principles, they invite you, nudge you to live in the gray. And then you can learn the many shades of gray in life. And when you are intimate with the realness of life, you become the change agent. You become the healing agent. You become the love agent. You become the place where answers for solution finds its way out. You become an opening. You become a channel, a space, and a place for truth. The truth that wants to be seen, the truth that wants to be revealed, the truth that wants to be birthed. We've somehow convinced ourselves that if we keep going back and forth and being so polarized about our point of view and making the other wrong, or standing on my side and saying I am right, somehow we've convinced ourselves that that's just the way to getting shit done. Go ahead, just say it. No. And it could be a way to get shit done, but if you really want shift, if you want to shift in consciousness, if you want to shift the energy, it is important to be available, to be willing to move from your polarized nation, your polarized point of view, your polarized section, however you want to describe it, your polarized standpoint. I love how one of the great teachers, the Sufi mystic and poet Rumi, describes this. He said, "Somewhere beyond right and wrong, there is a garden. I will meet you there." Somewhere beyond right and wrong, there is a garden. I will meet you there. The garden of your consciousness is a safe place to be. The garden of your consciousness is infused with deep wisdom, intuition. It's the place of love. It's the place of peace. Yes, you got to honor the humanity from a human perspective. Yeah, there's some things that are right and wrong. However, if we want to resolve a discord, if we want to bring peace to our own minds, if we are feeling like that, I don't know how I can go on like this, we must be willing, we must be available, we must be open to going beyond right and wrong and going to the garden of our consciousness and meet with ourselves and meet with the beloved and ask, what would you have me do? That is a simple approach to coming up with answers, solutions to whatever you're going through and growing through. There's room for being polarized in the world from a human perspective, the physical reality. If you're a debater, you know that, you have a point of view that you're defending, or you have a point of view that you're against. And my friend and mentor, Reverend Deborah L. Johnson, Rev D, she used to be a debater. And she talks about, you never know what you're really going to be debating. You don't know the topic. And you can be for it or against it. You won't know if you're for it or against it until you pick whatever they're handing you. I don't know what it is. But then once you pick it and you see what you're debating, which you don't even have to believe in what you're talking about. Just think about that for a minute. We human beings, we can debate something that we don't even believe in. We see it. We see it right now in politics. We see politicians tell us things that has been crafted so that to avoid any kind of questioning or, it's just package. BS package in a way that when you hear it, it may make you feel a little bit peaceful, air quotes, peaceful, but something in you saying, I don't believe that. And we also have we've created a society, and we're changing, we're evolving, we're growing, we're maturing, where we don't really want to hear the truth because we have been conditioned not to speak our own truth. So how dare you tell me the truth? How dare you tell me what I don't want to hear? How dare you tell it like it is? Now, there are times when we think of some people tell it like it is and we appreciate them, but we also put those people in the box. People who can tell it like it is, we don't necessarily, well, we have different kind of filters. Let me say it that way. We have a president in America who would say he's telling it like it is. And some people love him for that. And some people hate him for that. Now, contrast that with Barack Obama. If Barack Obama told it like it is, what would that look like for you? As I think about that question, what comes up for me is, as a society, we need to grow our mindset, our heart set, and demand more from ourselves. So that when you're telling it as it is, it doesn't mean that you're just talking about things that are uncomfortable and judging others and being so negative. We can grow, develop, and evolve to a species where telling it like it is what we read in self-help books, spiritual books, on a podcast, on a radio show, from spiritual teachers like myself and others, that this becomes like it is. That we get to understand that we live in a world of both and, not either or. So, maybe that's the purpose of this earth. I believe this, that there is a new earth. Now, I don't know if it's going to be on this physical earth as we see it. Many teachers have said different things about that, but I don't know. But what I do know is, as we grow, develop, and evolve, which is happening, we simultaneously create a new physical space, because what we see in physical reality is a reflection. It's matter. It is the forming of a thought. What you see in the physical world, it's the manifestation of a thought. You can't see thought, but you can see thought when it's shaped and formed into a house, it's shaped into a book, a mobile device, or whatever it is. So where we are now is we have a lot of opportunities to help us move from being so polarized and being so right and forgetting to be happy. Some people will fight to be right, but don't want to be happy because they think being right makes them happy. I've heard someone say to me, I think it was a coaching session, and I said, would you rather be right or happy? Or can I be right and happy? No. The options is one. You got one option. The option is be right or be happy. Because in being right, if you're arguing, debating, have a point of view that you're right and someone is wrong, there's no happiness in that. Because how many people in the world wants to say, well, yes, I'm willing to be the one that's wrong? The ones who are willing to be wrong, in most cases, they're so in alignment with themselves that it really doesn't matter whether they're right or wrong. I remember times when if someone said I did something, said something, and I don't think I did, it may be that I don't remember, but in my mind, if I don't remember doing it, I'm like, no, I didn't do it. I will fight for not being wrong. I will fight for my rightness that I wasn't wrong. And then one day just hit me, what's the point? Well, maybe I did say it. I don't know. But so what? It doesn't affect my worth, my value, my existence. If I did something, said something that caused pain and I didn't remember and I'm being reminded of it, I can apologize. I can forgive myself. Healing is in our hands, literally, in so many ways, not just metaphorically. There are people who can read your palm and they can tell you about the story of your life. That's one way. In other ways, whatever you want to see in the world, whatever you want to see in your world, in your life, in your circumstances, in your affairs, in your current situation, it is up to you to bring it about. And you're going to have to let some things go. You're going to have to let the shit go so you can have a shift. If you're holding on to the shit, you ain't going to shift. The difference between shit and shift is F. You add F to shit, you shift. F represents freedom. You're freeing yourself from the right and wrong, right or wrong, the good or bad, the good and bad. All the stuff we make up, the intellectual masturbating conversation, intellectually feels good. And I'm not knocking intellect. I'm saying everything in its perspective. We got to bring things to balance. We got to find our balance. And it is up to us. Moving from being polarized to a consciousness of availability. It is a simple practice to honor your existence, to honor the God consciousness. The divine in you, the God in you. Let simplicity be your foundation. When simplicity and availability is your foundation stone, your approach to life is different. You view life differently. You view yourself differently. You find that you're a little bit more loving, more accepting, more compassionate, more understanding, more willing to let things go. When you're willing to be available, when you align with the consciousness of availability and simplicity, and not be so charged by your polarized conversation, but being charged by the affirmative conversation you're having with God, the divine within you. You'll have more access to wisdom, deeper wisdom, and you can be in the world and not be of the world. Being available for what wants to be birthed, what wants to be revealed. You become the space and the place for healing. You become the space and place for wholeness. You become the answered prayer. You are the loving presence that you seek. You are the prayer that you're praying. You are the love that you desire. You are the worthiness that you're working on day by day by day by day. And when you know that you are it, you can be easy. You can be more available. You can be more simple in your approach to life. Nature is simple. Go out in nature. Go to a forest. Go to a garden. Go to a park. And just watch the simplicity. Let the simplicity of nature speak to you. Go find a plant, a rose, or a flower, and hold it and just be with it. Light a candle and watch the flame and how simple it is. You can't touch it. You can try. And when you do, it will leave an impression. Fire is simple, but can transform and it can destruct. Air is simple. It can breathe you, or it can blow you away. Water sustains you. Water sustains us, yet we can drown in it. The earth is holding us up, is holding us together. It's our foundation. And in a moment, the earth can slide. It can move and create an earthquake. And we have no power over it. Simplicity is powerful. And it is in you. Tap into that simple, powerful, gentle power within you. It will inspire you to be less polarized, less divisive, and you're more able to dance with the evolution of life. You're charged by your own state of mind. You're self-sustained by your consciousness. There is a place within you that is available to you, that is available for you. That's the invitation. When I say don't be polarized, be available, be simple, I am presenting an invitation for you to find that place within yourself where you are welcomed. Where you are at peace, where simplicity just feels very natural. And I want to do something here. And I love life. I love spirit, intuition. When you're tuned in, when you're tapped in, inspiration comes, ideas flow, creativity just show up, right? And as I was getting ready to record this, I heard John's song in my head, in my mind, in my heart, wherever you want to put it. I heard the lyrics. And I was like, whoa, this goes right along with what I'm talking about. As you know, John Stringer, I use his song, and I do have permission to do that. He's my brother. No, actually, I told him, I said, this is my song now. He wrote it and performed it, but it's mine now. because the words are so powerful. And I'm going to read it, and then I'm going to play it. And I'm talking about You Are Welcome Here. There is a space in my heart where I can find the truth. I find me in you. A truth beyond what you may see now. But when we are one, we bring more good about. No matter who or what you call yourself or where you come from, there is a place in this world with open arms right now. Welcome to love. Welcome to peace. Welcome to our community. That's being available. You welcome yourself home. Here it is. Oops, let's try that again. There we go. I know I played it at the beginning, but I just want to drop it in here because it matters.
There is a space in my heart where I find the truth. I find me in you, a truth beyond what you may see now. But when we are one, we bring more good about. No matter who or what you call yourself or where you come from, yeah. There is a place in this world with open arms
Right now. Woo, I love this song. Welcome to love. Welcome to peace. Welcome to our community. Be who you are. Let your light shine. We are so much more when we unite. Think about that. Don't be polarized because we're so much more when we unite. Oh, I love this thing called life. I love spirit. I love this opportunity to be an inspiration, to share, to listen, to download, to just feel your presence because there's only one. So you may not be listening to this right now, but your spirit is listening to this right now. I know it. It is the truth. There's only one of us here. So if I'm listening to it, you are listening to it, right? We are one. And I welcome you to this place because we are so much more when we unite. We are so much more when we unite. Don't be polarized. Let your foundation be a consciousness of availability. Let your consciousness, let your ways be simple. There is power in simplicity. Don't be fooled by the BS out there in the world. There is a power that an infant carries when you look at a child. There's a power when you look at a puppy, a kitten. It's just like, sometimes we just go, oh. It just taps into something so deep inside of us that we don't even have the words. We just have to sigh. We make a sound. We see the face of God. We see God in the flesh. Don't be polarized. Be available. Be simple. Be available to yourself. And the less, I know it's a journey, so the less polarized you are, the more accepting you are of yourself. I can tell you, I can be so polarized about my own choices sometimes I can't even move forward. It's like, come on. There's so many ways to look at this. This is not the only way. Yes. Life is simple. And it's because it's so simple is why it appears to be so complicated sometimes. Because we have been trained to overanalyze and overthinking and, oh no, that's got to be a trick. No, there's got to be another way. But you remember what one of the teachers said, JC? JC said, you've got to become, JC, Jesus the Christ, you've got to become like a child to enter the kingdom, the consciousness of heaven. The childlike nature is receptive, is innocent, is pure. The kingdom is not a physical place. It is a place in, if you will, a place in consciousness. The kingdom of heaven. Heaven is the never-ending good. Is that well, that deep well that has no bottom. The place where you can allow yourself to just sit in for a moment and be quiet. And then you open your eyes and you feel rejuvenated. Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know that I am is God. Don't waste your time and energy being so polarized about what is right and wrong and what the world needs to do, what somebody else needs to do, and what they're not doing and what you're not going to stand for. How you feel will tell you where you stand. Because when you think of spiritual principles, universal spiritual principles, it doesn't need you to be polarized. When we become so polarized, we push people away. When we are more available, we don't have to agree with them, but we give them a space and a place for them to be heard. Maybe even hear some of this a belief that they have, and then they might just say, you know what? It's interesting. Most people that I've spoken to about this are so ready to debate me, they don't even let me finish. But now that I've actually you've allowed me to really say what I want to say, and I'm hearing what I'm saying, that's not quite the whole story. So by being available, you give someone a gift, and you give yourself a gift, because now you've conserved energy. You can save the planet by conserving your own energy, and I'm going to conserve my own energy now. And thank you for listening to this episode. Being you. The journey back to yourself. Be available. Be simple. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your energy. And don't forget, if you like this episode, this podcast, what I do, no, I'm going to take that out. Forget that part. If you like this episode, because you're not going to like everything that I do, right? If you enjoy this envelope. If you've enjoyed this episode, if it's touched something in you, subscribe. If it did touch something in you, email me and tell me why not. And then subscribe. Thank you for tuning in, for listening, and allowing yourself to be transformed. Check out my website, lifecoachade.com. Sign up for the mailing list, and we get another dose of John Stringer. You are welcome here. To find out more about what John Stringer is doing, his work, his transformative work, go to his website, John Stringer Inc., johnstringerinc.com. I love you. I bless you. I appreciate you. And I thank God for you. Peace and blessings.
Where you come from, yeah. There is a place in this world with open arms right now. Welcome to love. Welcome to peace. Welcome to our community.